What's up, party people? How's everybody doing? I think the picture's okay. What's up? It's been a few weeks. It's been a couple months since I've really done one. I did one at night, and I haven't done a live one during the day sober in, I think 2 or 3 months. Just not really in the mood to do them. But my kids are at school for the last half day, and then they're off for 2 full weeks, which is going to be complete hell. And my wife is actually with one of my kids in LA for a doctor's appointment. He's not sick. He's just getting tested for some stuff. So I had the house all to myself and Maisie. So I figured, let's do a YouTube. All right, let's get right into it. So the big story of the day is Nordstrom, JWN. And we should be getting a deal, I would think, on Monday is my guess. Women's WWD, Women's Something Daily. It's a very big industry magazine and website, reported on Wednesday late at night that they are near Women's Wear Daily. Thank you, David. They are near a deal with the brothers and Liverpool, and it could happen as soon as this week. But if not, they want to get it. They want to nudge it to a conclusion by the end of this month. David Faber then confirmed that the next day. Did not say this week, but said by the end of the month. Did not talk price. Neither talked price. So I've said this many, many times on here, but I am not long Nordstrom Common. I have a huge position on that's absurdly big in options, and it's mostly butterflies, and I'm short. I'm long call spreads with short 1x2s, and basically my entire bet is that there's a deal between $24 and $25, up to $26. But really, the sweet spot is anywhere between $24 and $25. Stock's trading $24.80. The stock was $22.86 when they put the article out on Wednesday. It is my feeling that we will get a deal around $25. $24.50, $25, maybe $25.50. I'd be very surprised if the deal was $26. So I don't find Common attractive here at all. And unfortunately, there are no spreads to put on because vol's collapsed. So there's nothing to do in JWN if you haven't done it already. We just now wait and see. I would say there's a 99% chance of a deal. We wait to see what the deal price is and whether it comes on Monday or if it comes the Monday after Christmas. I would think very likely it comes on Monday. And it's a huge deal for me. It's hard to overstate how big this position is for me in options and from a P&L perspective and how it's going to kind of make my year. Though it already moved huge on Thursday as a result of the article because vol has collapsed. And I'm so short vol that that's the whole trade basically. So I've already realized probably 2/3 of my P&L, and I have 1/3 left to realize, depending on whether the price is 24, 25, 26. Anywhere between 24 and 25 is good for me. Doesn't matter where it is in there. The best price is 25, but just minorly better than 24. I don't think there's much to talk about on BBIO. I did a lot of it last time. So I'm not going to really focus on it. I love it. It's my biggest position. It's like a 75% delta adjusted position. I just can't say enough good things about it going into 2026. As I said to somebody on Twitter yesterday, if I told you had 2 different companies, one of them is about to launch a commercial drug and the street has sales of 100 million when they might do sales of 300 or 400 million, you'd want to own that, right? The other company has 3 phase 3 readouts, 2 of them in indications that have no drugs whatsoever. The third one, they're very likely to have a superior drug in a superior format. And for all 3 of those phase 3 trials are very likely to be positive. When I want to own stock in that company, all reading out next year. What if I told you get to put them together and it's just one company? So for me, BBIO is the whole package, and we are finally in the go here, going into JP Morgan in January, and first quarter of sales when they guide either at JP Morgan. They might guide before the JP Morgan for 2025 guidance. If I don't know if they'll put out annual guidance or not. They probably have no idea what it's going to be. I'm a big fan. RCKT, I actually bought a 3% position in RCKT because one of my buddies, it's his biggest position. So I did a little bit of work on it, but I do own a 3% position in RCKT. I can't endorse it because I really don't know anything about it. I read his write-up. I liked it. It seems completely washed up. They did a secondary 2 weeks ago, which should have been a clearing event. The stock really just is in the dumps, and it's probably a lot of tax selling. But I do own RCKT. The two bigger positions I have on now that I don't think I've talked much about are BLCO and TripAdvisor. So I bought TripAdvisor 2 days ago, which was very good timing because the catalyst came yesterday. So TripAdvisor is probably one of my best ideas for 2025 right now. I'll tell you why. So the original TripAdvisor thesis back in the spring of 2024 was that they put themselves up for sale because Liberty TripAdvisor, LTRPA, who has a 22% economic interest in TripAdvisor, but a 55% voting interest, they were facing major liquidity crunch come March 2025 when their debt is due and their preferred was due. And in order for Liberty TripAdvisor to have any value, the stock had to be above like 21.50. At the time, the stock was trading like 20 or 21. They announced they were putting themselves up for sale. Stock went 25, 26, as high as 27. And then, of course, they rug pulled us in April and said, no deal. And the stock, and they had terrible guidance, really bad numbers. And the stock, TripAdvisor, went to 17, making Liberty TripAdvisor underwater on having any value. Because again, it has to be 21, 21.50 or so for there to be any value there. As we fast approach March of 2025, people didn't know what was going to happen with Liberty TripAdvisor. There were a lot of different outcomes, okay? One outcome would be that they still sell the whole company, TripAdvisor, and even if it doesn't go for $21, that just solves the problem. Whatever the proceeds are, go to the pref and to the debt at Liberty TripAdvisor, and then TripAdvisor public shareholders get whatever price they sell it for. Another outcome would be that Liberty TripAdvisor goes bankrupt, and the pref and the debt take over the 22% economic interest in TripAdvisor and the 55% voting interest. That would be really messy, and no one would really know what would happen with those shares. And then the third outcome is what ended up happening, which is pretty bullish, almost the best outcome, I think. So TripAdvisor bought back. Well, TripAdvisor acquired Liberty TripAdvisor for a nominal sum, $20 million, 22 cents a share, and they made the debt whole. Okay, the debt also was convertible into shares, but now it's just going to be made whole. And the pref took a big haircut and got half cash and half stock. And they're going to issue about 3 million shares to the pref. The net result is they're going to retire something like 21 million or 24 million TripAdvisor shares. And there will no longer be a dual class structure. It will just be a single class, no more Liberty TripAdvisor, and the share count is going to go down about 19%. And they're using cash to do this. And the cash was only making whatever, 4%, plus they had to pay taxes on it. So there's basically no cost on they basically are funding this for no cost, right? Cash in the balance sheet that wasn't making any money. What does it look like? So I think next year's earnings, the street doesn't have any idea what they're going to make next year, but the street was at $1.40. I think the street will now go up to $1.65 next year, though this deal doesn't close until March or April. So I don't know how that works from a timing perspective of when they retire the shares, but run rate, they'll be making $1.65 next year before stock-based comp on a $14 stock. Now, what's most interesting about TripAdvisor is that it really is 3 different businesses. Okay. Now, 2 of them have synergies. The third one definitely doesn't, or I don't think it does. But we're going to go through the 3 businesses and why I'm so bullish on the overall company. So the main business is the TripAdvisor you all know about, which is you go to TripAdvisor.com and you look for hotels, basically, and some other shit. And that has been struggling for years as Google has been dominating that business, the search business, and they're not basically giving referrals from searching to TripAdvisor, where TripAdvisor then makes money when you click on a hotel to buy, when you price comparison or whatever, off of that search for hotels in a city. The business was pretty stable in 2023 and I think 2022, but starting in 2024, it started declining again, and it's declining at like 10% annually. And that's why the stock has been decimated. The second thing that's happened, let me finish talking about this. Sorry. Now, this is a huge cash cow. So even though they're declining, it's declining at 10%, it does over 300 million in EBITDA a year. That's only coming down a little bit with the top line decline. Now, of course, if they keep declining at 10% annually, that's pretty bad. I think that business is a good business. I use it. I'm sure you use it. And I think that there's real value in the TripAdvisor core brand. Further, I think it's very valuable for many other players. And with a Republican Department of Justice and antitrust, you could have a Booking or, they would be the most likely, but a Bookings or maybe even Airbnb acquire that business and see synergies in their business. But I'm not banking on that happening. I'm just saying it could happen. 300 million of EBITDA, if that's worth 6 times, 5 times, you get $1.5 billion to a 1.8 billion value alone, just in the core TripAdvisor business. Okay. And the math I had, I don't know if I lost it here, was that I don't even know what page I did this on, unfortunately. Bummer. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it because I was curious what the market cap was. And oh, there it is. I found it. The math I have is there's 1.6 billion market cap right now and about a 2.3 billion EV. And I'm being pretty conservative with how I calculate the EV. So if I think that the core trip business alone is worth 1.5 billion, that covers most of all my market cap and leaves about 800 million left for my EV. So what am I getting for that 800 million? Well, it's pretty remarkable, really. So there's 2 businesses left, okay? I'm going to start with the less interesting one first, but I actually can't believe how valuable I think that business is and how little people give value for it. They own The Fork, which is basically the open table of Europe. And they're the #1 market share in all of their markets in Europe for booking restaurants in Europe, okay? And The Fork should do this year something like, hold on one second, 170 million of revenue, okay? And it's growing. It grew last quarter at 15% year over year in same currency sales. And it's finally inflected cash flow positive. And it's like a 10% EBITDA margin. It used to be, it wasn't even making money, I think, as recently as last year, okay? This business is a phenomenal business. It's all network effect. OpenTable got acquired for like 18 or 15 times EBITDA and was much more mature than The Fork is, okay? So I don't know what The Fork is worth, but it's worth multiples of that 170 million of revenue, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if it's worth 5 times sales, making it worth $800 million alone, okay? The street has this thing worth like nothing. It's valued anywhere between 1 and 2 times, half its time sales to 2 times sales, okay? So in my sum of the parts, I'm going to add another, call it 750 million. We'll call it $600 million for The Fork. I think it's worth more than that, okay? So now you're basically at the entire enterprise value already spoken for. 5 times EBITDA for the core business, which again is a phenomenal business. It's declining because of traffic issues, but I do not think it's a melting ice cube to zero. I don't see that being displaced by hotel reviews on Google, given the user base and the install base and the amount of reviews they have. So what's left? Well, the left is the crown jewel, okay? They own a business that's a complete duopoly, okay? They own Viator, which is a business you use to book experiences worldwide, okay? And there's only 2 companies that do this, them and a EU-based one that is called Get Your Guide. Okay. Now, Get Your Guide did a round valuing it at $2 billion in the summer of 2023. Mind you, we're now at the end of 2024. So there's time value there. So that was worth $2 billion. And it should be comparable to what Viator is. We don't know for sure what that business looks like, but it should be somewhat considerable to what Viator is. Okay. But even if you don't want to comp it to that, Viator is just a crazy good business. Okay. This year, it should do something like, I don't even know, 800 million of sales. And on that number, it's finally EBITDA positive. Okay. And it's growing in the teens. Now, the stock got decimated this year because it was growing at like 50% last year, and it slowed dramatically. But there's no reason to believe that it's not going to be a growing business going forward. In fact, they said in October, growth is accelerating in Q4 over Q3. So you have this business that's a duopoly that has crazy network effect, right? They have tens of thousands of tours. And as a result, tour operators have to use them and or Get Your Guide for the network effect. And customers go to TripAdvisor and go straight to Viator to book a local tour when they go to a certain city. Okay, I did it with my kids when I was in Utah last summer. I went to TripAdvisor, looked for whitewater river rafting, and then I booked through Viator on TripAdvisor's website. Okay, they make 25% or so, 22 to 25% of every dollar they take in on tours. Now that 800 million of sales is net to them. That's not the gross merchandise value that they're booking. Now, this business to me is worth 3 to 5 times sales. Okay. At 3 times sales, you're looking at a $2.4 billion business on 800 million of sales. The market cap right now is 1.6 billion. You will get yourself 150% higher stock price on the sum of the parts of those 3 businesses. And I am not being aggressive with my numbers. Okay, 3 times sales for this to me is very, very low, given the quality of the business and the network effect. Okay, so why is it $14? And what's the bear case? There is a bear case. The bear case is, first of all, there's $100 million in annual stock-based compensation that I'm not counting for. So if you put an 8 multiple on that, you got to take 800 million bucks off of all of this. Okay, that would still get you a double though. Okay. The second bear case is that they did try to sell this company to make TripAdvisor whole, Liberty TripAdvisor whole, and it did not sell. So we don't know whether they tried to get 30 bucks for it, 35 bucks for it, 25 bucks for it, but it's still public and it's trading at 14 bucks. Okay. This doesn't bother me too much. We're going to find out the background of the sale process when Liberty TripAdvisor does their proxy, because they have to do a vote on this. There's no vote risk the way the deal is structured, but they have to do a vote anyway. So what's my downside? Well, there's virtually no debt. There's 700 million of net debt if you use all liabilities and working capital and everything. But this thing is gushing cash. All right. Even today, with the combined company EBITDA, it's near $400 million of EBITDA or more with all 3 units. And it's a 2.3 billion EV. So you're paying like 5.5 times EBITDA for this combined business. I think that it's wildly misunderstood company. And I don't think it should be split up. I think Viator and core TripAdvisor have synergies. I think you go to TripAdvisor, you look for experiences, and you book. What I do think, though, is that the fork really has no place here. I'm sure people do go to TripAdvisor for some restaurant reviews in Europe. I mean, I did when I was in Europe because Yelp doesn't work as well there. But I'm not convinced it's needed to be part of TripAdvisor. I don't think there's dyssynergies, but I think it's worth well more than what the implied value is of the whole company. So I'm pretty bullish on TripAdvisor here. I think it should be a $20 stock today, maybe even $25. The other idea that I put on that's pretty big, very big, is BLCO. Now, BLCO is a fascinating story. That's very complicated. So BLCO was spun out by BHC. This is the old Valiant, by the way, a few years ago. And BLCO is an eye care company, and it's run by Brent Saunders. Did I say his name right? Is it Brett Saunders? I think it might be Brett Saunders. I always get his name confused. Who is a really Brent? It is Brent. Brent Saunders, who is a really well-known healthcare CEO that has an incredible amount of experience with doing large deals. So BLCO was spun out of BHC, and BHC owns 88% of BLCO. BHC has like $22 billion of debt and has like a $3 billion market cap. So it's basically trading like it's insolvent, okay? BHC has been trying to spin out the 88% of BLCO it doesn't own to its shareholders for the last 2 years, because the amount of shares that it owns is worth like $12 a share in each BHC share price. So you'd create huge value if you spun out BLCO into BHC shareholders. BHC debt holders said, no, you can't do that, because if you do that, then the RemainCo of BHC is going to be insolvent. So they've been playing the stalemate game for a year. It came out about 3 months. I'm going to go pretty quick with this. Came out about 3 months ago that BHC decided to go for another option. They were going to sell BHC to the high. Sorry, they were going to sell BLCO to the highest private equity firms, the highest bid, and then use the proceeds to pay down some debt and dividend some money to BHC shareholders. Okay, BLCO was trading like 15.50 when this came out. The articles in September. Okay, it shot up to 20, 21. Okay, in October, it was rumored that TPG and Blackstone were in the lead to acquire BLCO at a price up to $25 a share. Stock went to $22. Okay. Then 10 days ago, the Financial Times said that Blackstone is probably going to walk. They do not like the price that BHC is demanding. BHC put out a statement the next day confirming the sales process. It's the first time they publicly confirmed it, and said the process is ongoing and they will not comment in the future unless they have to. BLCO blew up to 18, where it's trading today. So my view is that BHC has to sell BLCO. They can't spin it out, and they have debt due next year. And without selling BLCO, they cannot resolve their problems. I just don't know what price they're going to sell it for. But it's my belief it'll sell for the low to mid 22s. Why do I think this? BLCO has two competitors that are publicly traded, and they trade at multiples much higher than BLCO. In fact, if they were to trade at BLCO's multiple, if BLCO was to trade at their multiple, BLCO would be in the 30s. So it's my belief that a private equity firm could pay $23, $24 a share, execute on the company over the next 2 to 3 years, and take it public again. And the LBO model says that they can make a 20+% IRR. In fact, it says they can make a 20% IRR up to $25 a share of BLCO. I think this is just a classic stalemate over a bid ask. And the private equity guys know that they have to sell BHC. BHC has to sell BLCO, and they're playing hardball. And I think we'll get a deal in BLCO sooner than later. I actually thought we would have got it this week. So there's a chance it takes a month or two if TPG has to find a new partner. The article did not say TPG wanted to walk. It said Blackstone wanted to walk. So my view is it's like $2 down, $5 up, with a very high probability of working. And if it doesn't work, I haven't lost money. I'm going to lose money mark to market. I'm not trying to like a bag holder, but there's nothing fundamentally wrong with BLCO. Okay. They still have to sell the company. So whether they sell it in 6 months from now or 9 months from now, it's going to get sold. And I'll hold my BLCO till then if that happens. So that's why I've oversized it. I have not talked about WOW yet. WOW is a 7% position. I have no fucking idea what's going on there. Okay. There should have been a deal there already. Cable's been hit over the last month. I'm not a cable guy. I still think there'll be a deal at WOW. I'm worried it won't be a great price and they'll take a year to close or 9 months to close. I haven't added at 480. I like it at 480. I still think we'll get a deal at WOW. I do not know what break is if we don't get a deal. I think we'll get a deal. That's my view with WOW, unfortunately. I can't be much more specific than that. What else did I want to talk about? I'm going to talk very briefly on PTGX. I never mentioned it here before. It's a big position of mine. I piggybacked off of a very smart investor here, and I love what I see. Basically, PTGX has 2 partner drugs, one with Johnson & Johnson and one with a Japanese company. And there's a number of readouts in the first quarter of next year that I feel good based on my friends that are going to be positive. And they also have a bunch of things preclinical that are going to happen next year. And I just really like the idea. So it's one of my top 5 positions. And I own it. I added here, and we'll see what happens. I highly recommend you do work on that. It's a very interesting company. You can go look at their presentation on their website, and they walk you through all their different owned and partner drugs and the timelines for the readouts. I have never looked at MRVI. Sorry. I don't know it at all. I know that I've heard the ticker before. Yeah, I don't know it. It's the right market cap for me, but I don't know it. ARDX. So I made ARDX bigger last week because ARDX is pretty fascinating. So, they only have one drug with 2 indications, and they're called 2 different things. One's an IBS, and the other one's a kidney drug, okay? And the stock blew up because the kidney side, they are getting fucked with Medicare, and there's a bundling issue with CMS. And starting January 1st, they really can't get paid on the CMS side because Congress failed to act and didn't sign the kidney deal, the kidney bill that would have pushed their delaying of the bundling for 2 years. The reason why I think it's so interesting is that the IBS drug is run rating at like $170 million, growing 15% quarter over quarter. And I think the IBS drug alone justifies the entire market cap enterprise value in ARDX. And the kidney side is definitely not dead. There's a real business there with or without Medicare. And I think it'll be fixed too. I think the drug works. People don't want to take horse pills. And I think they'll figure out the bundling issue there next year. I think the stock will go up a lot. And I think there's virtually no downside here. So I made that a decent sized position early this week on that news. Magnachip also is one of my biggest positions. It suffered from terrible tax loss selling. I'm selling some for tax losses right now because I have like 20% of my position is so far underwater, not like $20 basis. I've already sold out a long time ago, but like $8 basis that I just have to sell some of it. So people like me, even if you like this company, are selling it every day. And I think that's a great tax loss opportunity if you don't own it yet. It's trading at cash, it's trading at net asset value right now. They did an interesting thing this week. They borrowed $25 million to be able to buy equipment. And the equipment, they say, is for CapEx in 2025. It's pretty cool that they were able to get a loan for that. And it also means they probably have some sort of growth coming if they need to borrow money for an equipment rollout. Market doesn't care, right? So I would read that 8K. It came out this week. My biggest positions in order are BridgeBio by far. Nordstrom is not big in a equity way. It's just huge in these. I have a huge number of call spreads and butterflies and stuff, but I'm not long the stock or delta adjusted long the stock. Next is BLCO, then it's Magnachip, then it's PTGX, then it's TripAdvisor, and then it steps down a little bit. And then I have a 10% position in AMPY. I have like a 9% position in ARDX. I have a 7% position in WOW. I have about a 5% position. Oh, QURE, Unicure. How can I not talk about Unicure? Look, I still have my legacy position in Unicure. I have no idea if they're going to be able to get accelerated approval or not. I would talk about it more, but it's not that big of a position. I've sold 15 covered calls against a lot of it. So it's basically like a 3 or 4, 5% position now. If my cover calls get called, I'm just holding it. I don't have a very strong view about whether or not they're going to do the accelerated approval or not, but I don't really want to talk about it. That was painful this year, though I made a lot of money on it, but that was just a painful story. I still own Roivant. That's just a 3.5% position. I have a 2% position in Immunovant. I've made those much smaller, and I've had the 3% position in RCKT. So that's my whole portfolio. TH is tiny. It's I have 50 basis points of call spreads, maybe 30 basis points. I have no view or opinion on TH anymore. You should go watch my last YouTube where I go into detail about why I sold all my TH. Oh, and it was not because I don't like Trump, by the way. Some guy on Twitter said that was why I sold all my TH. No, I can, or because I'm anti-deportations, which I am. I sold it because I was concerned that they can't make money off of the new administration's views. If they do end up making money off of deportation, that's great. What I said was I don't want to profit in that, but that is not why I sold it. So to be clear, I sold it because I have had and have a view that I don't think they'll be part of the solution of deportations, and that PICOs will be canceled in 2025. I think there's over a 50% chance PICOs is canceled and or not renewed by November, but might just be canceled in the middle of the year because it's going to sit vacant, and they're going to see that they could save hundreds of millions of dollars canceling that contract. My Twitter account's locked, and I actually don't accept new followers. But if you could figure it out, I'll accept you. But I'd rather not say it on here. I mean, I guess whatever. It's not that much of a secret. Let's give it to you. If you at me, Elder, and say who you are from this live YouTube, I'll let you in, assuming you're not MAGA. If you're MAGA, then you're not allowed in my Twitter feed. I blocked my first MAGA person this week. I haven't done that in a year. I gave up on it, but somebody went too far with the conspiracy theories and the bullshit. And I couldn't handle it. Yeah, you could join it. Is it Matthias? Yeah, just at me and just say who you are, and I'll let you in. And of course, try to follow me. You have to be a pending follower. I think that's everything, guys. So yeah. A TRIP and BLCO at these levels to me is very, very attractive. BBIO, I think, is insane. I have no idea why it's 2650. I just could not be more enthused for 2025 when it comes to that stock. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what next year brings. All right. I love everybody. Take care. Have a great weekend. Let's get a Nordstrom deal on Monday, and let's get a BLCO deal on Monday too. Why not? Have a great weekend, everybody. And happy holidays if I don't speak to you before Christmas and Hanukkah. Bye.